Maya was laughing when it happened, one hand on her round belly, the morning sun glowing on her cheeks. She was gently scolding the goats for chewing the rake handle again, her voice a mix of amusement and pretend sternness. I was halfway through fixing the barn door hinge, squinting against the bright Nevada light, when I heard the crunch of gravel behind me. Then came that voice, sharp, nasal, the kind that made you cringe like sour milk on your tongue. It was Lucinda. I didn't even turn around at first. She barked something about unauthorized gatherings and livestock regulations, tossing in a jab about pregnancy on an agricultural property. Absolute nonsense. Then, without any warning, she stormed up and kicked my pregnant wife hard in the side. Maya gasped, stumbling back against the wooden gate. My wrench hit the dirt. Time froze. Her hands cradled her belly as pain bloomed in her eyes. She tried to stand tall, but her breath hitched. Lucinda stood there with arms crossed like she'd just fulfilled a civic duty. I rushed to Maya's side, kneeling in the straw, whispering her name, fighting panic. She shook her head gently and whispered, "I'm okay," but her voice trembled like a broken string. Behind me, Lucinda kept on like she hadn't just assaulted someone. HOA livestock codes, pregnancy health concerns, private property violations. I walked, slowly, to the tool bench. She probably assumed I was going for a pitchfork. What I grabbed was my old state trooper radio. Hadn't used it in years, but I kept it charged. "Unit 6 to base," I said. "Emergency on private land. Pregnant woman assaulted. Request immediate response." Static hummed, then came the reply. 10-4. Rolling code 3. "That you, Doyle?" "Affirmative," I answered. "Trooper Reese en route for minutes." Lucinda scoffed behind me. Thought I was bluffing. Thought I was just some ex-cowboy playing sheriff on my own land. She didn't know who I used to be. Didn't know the man headed this way was someone whose life I once pulled from a burning patrol car. Maya sat now on a hay bale, taking deep breaths. I stayed kneeling beside her, holding her hand. She squeezed back. "We're okay," she whispered. "It's just Lucinda. She can't hurt us." If only that were true. Lucinda, realizing help was indeed coming, pulled out her phone and started recording. She adopted a quivering voice like some second-rate actress, claiming she'd been assaulted while enforcing neighborhood code. Her camera panned over Maya, the goats, the barn. Lies poured from her like water from a broken spigot. Neighbors started to arrive. Mrs. Clemens from the herb farm down the road. Pete and Marla from 2 lots over. A few local teens parked their dirt bikes near the creek and came jogging over. Lucinda's volume climbed. She accused Maya of staging the entire event. Said I was impersonating law enforcement. I kept silent, listening for the sirens. They started faint, then swelled. Lucinda's voice cracked. Then the black and white SUV rolled through the gate, gravel kicking up in its wake. Trooper Reese stepped out, tall, broad, sunglasses perched on his nose. He glanced right past Lucinda and gave me a nod. Lucinda approached with fake relief in her step. "Officer, thank goodness," she said, touching his arm. I feared for my safety. Reese didn't acknowledge her. He strode directly to Maya. "Ma'am, do you need an ambulance?" "No," Maya said. "I just needed to sit for a moment." Reese turned to me. "Walk me through it." I did. Calm. Clear. Maya. The kick. The fall. The footage. The neighbors. The land well outside HOA reach. Lucinda cut in with more babble. Reese raised a hand. "Ma'am, step back. This is now a criminal investigation." Lucinda's face blanched. The mask slipped just a bit. Reese asked for documentation. I pointed toward the barn office. Lucinda tried to intercept him. Reese stepped between her and the door with quiet authority. Moved her aside like a folding chair. "I think the baby just kicked," Maya whispered. I smiled. And so did Justice. Lucinda stood in our driveway like a substitute teacher demanding respect. But this wasn't her classroom. And the law had arrived. Reese radioed for backup, not because he needed it, but for protocol. Lucinda had trespassed, assaulted a pregnant woman, and was still talking. Maya sipped water on the bench. Her color returned. I stayed close. Lucinda shouted about unlawful detainment. She waved her phone, claimed she was on the state compliance committee for HOAs. She had laminated sheets from her purse, quoting codes on livestock, fencing, even the color of our dirt. "Dirt. Ma'am," Reese asked evenly, "where does your HOA jurisdiction end?" She pointed vaguely toward the creek. He handed her a parcel map. "This is your boundary. This," he tapped, "is our land. Non-HOA. Agricultural exempt." Lucinda looked around. A crowd had gathered. Some leaned against fence posts. Pete held a bucket of popcorn. Someone else filmed. Lucinda's face twitched. She tried tears. Claimed a dog had attacked her. We didn't have a dog. Said Maya threatened her. Said she was invited. She pointed at me like I'd summoned her. Reese didn't bother writing any of it down. I returned with the manila folder, deeds, zoning maps, exemption letters. Reese flipped through and nodded. He turned to Lucinda. You're trespassing. We have multiple witness statements and video evidence of assault. You're being cited. Lucinda whispered, I'm on the board. I keep this neighborhood in order. If not me, who? Reese handed her the citation. Then maybe it's time someone else did. Lucinda looked to the crowd for support. Silence met her. The goats bleated right on cue. One climbed the fence halfway. Is this what passes for order? Lucinda snapped. Goats and retirees? No, ma'am, Reese said. The law does. Lucinda left muttering about lawsuits and bylaws. Reese checked on Maya again. She declined the hospital. She felt the baby flutter again and smiled. As Lucinda crossed the property line, the young trooper chuckled. She's like a one-woman lawsuit factory. That wasn't an inspection, Reese replied. That was a demolition attempt. Dispatch crackled. More units confirmed en route. Maya leaned against me. We both exhaled. Peace settled like dusk, but we both knew Lucinda wasn't done. Not yet. The next day, she came back. Not onto the property, but just outside the fence. Beige windbreaker, oversized sunglasses, and a fake-looking badge pinned to her chest. She clutched a clipboard with something printed in bold letters, Community Environmental Safety Patrol. She was narrating again, claiming our goats posed an airborne pollen threat, accusing us of contaminating HOA soil. I stood at the gate, said nothing. She rushed the fence, approaching the goat pen. Our largest goat, Captain, didn't like strangers, and he especially hated paper. Lucinda leaned in, trying to document something. Captain lunged, snatching the paper clean from her clipboard. Lucinda screamed, stumbled, and slipped in the wet grass. She toppled backward into the ditch with a splash. Frogs leapt away. I turned to hide my laugh. Pete didn't bother. He nearly choked on his granola bar. Lucinda climbed out soaked, windbreaker ruined, clipboard chewed to bits. She said nothing, just limped away. Later that evening, Reese called. The judge had approved our restraining order. Lucinda would be served. Several neighbors had filed formal complaints. Apparently, she'd fined them for everything from tomato plants to wind chimes. When I told Maya about the goat, she laughed so hard she cried. Said the baby kicked with joy. Troopers returned to post the order. We watched them nail the notice to the fence. Lucinda didn't return that day. That evening, we sat outside under a purple sky. Maya liked the name Rose. I preferred June. We agreed on one thing. The name had to carry quiet strength. Like her. Captain chewed the last scrap of Lucinda's clipboard beside us. We raised a glass to him. The hearing came faster than expected. Maya looked radiant in a deep blue dress. Lucinda showed up in a neck brace and somber black gown, as if playing the victim in a courtroom drama. Judge Hargrave, sharp as ever, listened without interruption. Our lawyer presented the footage, the audio, the statements. Lucinda's lawyer pleaded confusion, blamed stress, claimed community duty. Lucinda couldn't stay quiet. She spoke out of turn, claimed she was saving the neighborhood from collapse. The judge wasn't impressed. He turned to Maya. Would you like to speak? She did. Calmly. Strong. She told the truth. The entire room went still. Verdict: guilty. Misdemeanor assault. Criminal trespass. Fines. Community service. Restraining order extended. Lucinda's face twitched. Her lawyer whispered in her ear. Her hands trembled. We left to applause. Pete handed Maya a bouquet of wildflowers. Judge Hargrave later sent a handwritten note that simply said, "Strength often speaks quietly." It was signed only with a sketch of a lily. Lucinda's house went up for sale the next week. The new neighbors waved when they saw us. One golden evening, I held our daughter, Lily, at the fence. Maya planted new flowers nearby. Captain nudged the post and bleated. I whispered the story to Lily as she smiled at the goats. Peace had returned. Earned. Quiet. Ours. And when the next Lucinda comes, we'll be ready, with strength just as quiet and just as unshakable.